Teacher Alyssa here again to talk to you about application and interview with VIPKID. In my first video, I just talked a lot about VIPKID and what it is and kind of shared my excitement for it and just talked about it. And I have had a lot of people ask me, what is this thing and how did you hear about it and how did you apply for it and how did you get hired and all kinds of stuff like that, especially from other teachers. And I wanted to make a video to explain kind of the process of the interview, because if you do pass the initial application, you will have to do I think it was a 10-minute interview with someone that is in Beijing at that time, and you'll do a live conversation with them, and they just want to get a feel for your personality and your ability to be confident in front of the camera and I think they're really looking for use of TPR. I talked about that a little bit in the last video, but using your hands to describe things. They want to see that you know how to do that. They want to see that you can teach kids, you can keep them engaged, and you can entertain them and make learning fun. One thing that I think is important to note is that they're not necessarily looking for people who have teaching degrees. Of course, that's a plus, but they do want you to have a 4-year degree. Or I think you can have a 2-year early childhood education degree, and you have to have some sort of experience with kids. It could be for anything from tutoring to maybe volunteering with them, or babysitting, or teaching swimming lessons, or just anything, church, music, who knows, anything that you would have been involved with kids for will help you to pass that initial application test, and it'll get you onto the interview. Now, just don't think that you have to be a teacher to do this, because it's more about personality. I think it's more about being bubbly and happy and outgoing and just able to be kind of silly, and not every teacher has the personality that would be required of a VIPKID teacher, because it's not the same as being in a regular classroom. It's actually very different. It's called a flipped classroom. And you are doing a lot of entertaining, a lot of just whatever you can do to keep that kid looking at you and not getting distracted, because think about it, they're looking at you through a screen. You're not right in front of them. You're not able to say, hey, Timmy, stop doing whatever you're doing. And sometimes it takes, monkey, hey, look, monkey, say hi, monkey, to get their attention off of whatever they're playing with. And usually that works. And so you just have to be able to show that you can do this and be just fun. Be fun. One thing I forgot to mention, you do have to have a native North American accent. So they typically only hire people from Canada or the US. Now, if you are in another country but you speak with the Northern American accent, you can still work for them. So this is what the application looks like. It's pretty basic. Just asks for your name and all the stuff that regular applications ask for. You have to tell your education and your all this stuff, but your teaching experience, even if you don't have experience actually teaching in a classroom, I personally would still put something there that has to do with being around kids. And I think when you click it, let me see. Yeah, it lets you give a description of what you did. So, say that you volunteered with a tutoring group somewhere, or you helped with reading comprehension. You would want to explain that, not in way too many words, because obviously they get a ton of applications. They're not going to read everything you say, but briefly I would say, I help children learn to read. I help them with phonics. Phonics is a big deal. If you say the word phonics, they're going to like that. I help them with phonics. I help them to spell. I help them learn how to correctly pronounce words. If you've done that, right? Just word it very quickly and briefly, but to the point, what you actually did with children. Then you have to tell when you can be available. So most of the classes take place between 6 and 10 on weekdays in Beijing, 6 and 10 p.m., and then 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. But in America, that is from currently it's from 4 to 9 Central Time in the morning. And then on the weekends, it's from, I believe, 7 to, I think 7 to like 10 or 11 the next morning in Central Time. So it's not exactly convenient hours for everyone, but it can definitely be done. I do it every day. So if you're interested in it, this is the application. It's really pretty brief. Just, you want to show that you can be fun and that you enjoy being around kids. Now, just because all of those hours are the ones that are available for you to teach does not mean that you have to be available for all of them. I just open up from 5 to 7 a.m. every weekday morning, and then I open up usually from around 7 to 10 or so on every other Friday, and then on Saturdays I do whatever I can do on that day or whatever. So you don't have to work. You can work as little or as much as you want. So it's actually pretty convenient. So once you make it to the interview process, they are going to ask you about yourself, like any other job interview. They want to know what kind of experience you've had around kids. That this is your time to shine. Be happy, smile at them. Just be a energetic person, be bubbly, because that's what they're going for. If they tell them all about your experience with children. I would stay away from talking about your degree in great detail or anything. I mean, I told them that I graduated with an English degree from Arkansas State University, and that's about all that I said about that. So I wouldn't talk too much about that. Instead, I would talk more about the things that are applicable to the job, which is loving children, being fun, loving to teach children. Those are the 3 things that you need to love to do. After that, they're going to have you teach them a lesson. It's going to be someone in China that is acting as a 5-year-old child. And that seems a little weird, and it is a little weird at first, but they actually are pretty good and pretty convincing. They act like they have little to no English ability at all. I think you teach, well, I don't want to tell you what you have to teach, because that would be, I don't know if VIPKID would be okay with me disclosing that information, but you'll teach a certain letter, okay? So let's say that you teach the letter P, right? I would have a whiteboard. So I would have a whiteboard, and maybe like an animal that starts with the letter P. For me, it was, if I was doing P, I would say it's a pig. P, pig. Pig starts with P, and I would have something to go along with the lesson. So whiteboard, animal, maybe flashcards. Flashcards are great. I use my flashcards every single lesson. So if you have them for the interview, it's probably going to make you look more prepared. Now, you don't have to have an awesome background. You don't have to have a classroom set up or anything like that. I actually did my interview at 4 a.m. On a Monday when I didn't even know that I didn't even have this in mind yet. I was sitting at my kitchen table with my kitchen in the background, and they didn't judge or say anything about that at all. They just wanted to meet me. So just mainly the interview, to pass it, just be happy, be energetic, smile, be confident, and be okay with being silly. Also, if the student, if you ask them to repeat you, for example, if you say, repeat, I see a pig. You want to use the TPR, the total physical response, like that. Say that the student mispronounces or doesn't say whatever you ask them to say correctly, like I see pig. Make sure you correct them in a positive way. Go, good, I see a pig. Good job, high five. And they love high fives and praise them like crazy. Pretend like you're actually talking to this little 5-year-old little baby on the other side of the screen in China. Incidental language. Do not use a lot of incidental language. They told me that during my interview. Incidental language is like the common, it's like how I'm speaking right now. They're not gonna a 5-year-old that doesn't know any English is not going to understand anything you say. So you need to stay away from saying anything other than what you're teaching. Like if you're teaching the letter, like, I don't know, like K, I would say K, K. Repeat, K, K. Good. K. Kite. Kite. Not. Okay. This is the letter K. Can you say K? Because they're not gonna understand what you're trying to say. They're gonna repeat everything you say. So if you say, can you say K? It's very likely that they're literally going to say, can you see K? Back to you, because they think they're just supposed to repeat. So incidental language, stay away from it. So once you are done with the lesson that you teach the adult that's acting like a child, they may kind of abruptly end the interview. Don't take that as a bad sign. They're having to move quickly because that's probably all they do. That person is probably interviewing people all day. So don't take it personally. They can only spend, I think it's literally 10 minutes that they can spend with you, and that's it. And then they're going to be like, okay, good job. You'll get an email with results. See ya. And just say, okay, thank you. Bye. Don't worry if they literally cut you off at minute 10. Okay. Because I got cut off. I didn't finish my lesson. And they were like, okay, Alyssa, thank you. We've seen all we need to see now. Bye. I was like, oh, I totally didn't make it. And then I got the email, I think maybe 30 minutes later, that said, hey, you passed. Book your mock class. One thing I would recommend that I didn't know whenever I did my interview would be to wear an orange shirt. Orange is the color for VIPKID. I didn't wear an orange shirt because I didn't know, but I had a lot of, I watched a lot of YouTube videos and stuff before my Mock 1, which we'll talk about next, and all these women were saying, and guys too that teach were saying, wear an orange shirt. So I turn it inside out because I leave this on my chair arm so I can just put it on every morning. But wear an orange shirt just because it shows that you know about a company rule maybe, that you have to teach in an orange shirt. Again, makes you look more prepared, makes you look like you want the job. So I would recommend wearing the orange shirt. Did I? No. If I could go back and tell myself to, would I? Definitely. After the interview, I wore one for both my Mock 1 and my Mock 2 class. So whenever you pass the interview, you will get an email pretty quickly that offers you the chance to sign up for your Mock 1. And your Mock 1 class is very important. It is the first time that you do a full-length lesson. You need to sign up for that as soon as possible because they're doing a lot of them. So, if you don't, I would sign up for the soonest possible time, because if you don't, it may be a while before they can get to you, and then it's just nerve-wracking and you just have to wait, and it's no fun. And also, I think the email says you have to have this stuff done within a certain amount of time. And I think actually you have to pass a quiz before you get the invite for Mock 1. So once you pass the interview, your email is going to say something like, congratulations, you passed. Here's what you did well on. Here's what you need to work on. And then it'll have a link that you go into this thing that looks like the teacher portal that you would have if you were actually a teacher with VIPKID. But it'll be kind of simplified, and it'll have all these links of training material. And I am still so impressed by VIPKID's training material. It's amazing. It is so informative. It's so easy to read. It's easy to understand. There are videos, there are PowerPoints, there are Word documents, PDFs, all kinds of information at your fingertips. Go over every single bit of it. Every bit of it. It takes a while, so just dedicate some time to it, because you will have to take a quiz. The quiz is easy if you have just watched all the training material and read it all. So when you pass the quiz, then you'll get the invite for Mock 1. Mock 1, you're going to teach a 25-minute lesson, which is how long we have to teach each individual lesson when we're actually teaching the kids. And you will get to actually experience like what it really is like being in the classroom. The evaluator is still going to act like a 5-year-old child, but it's different than the interview because you're actually proving that you can teach, and it's not just so much about you and your personality. So you need to have a few more things for mock 1, or at least I would recommend it. You don't have to. You do not have to. But in my personal opinion, when you look prepared, when you look like you know, when you look like you already have the job, when you act like you already have the job, you look like you've prepared well, you look like you want the job. And I personally would be more likely to give a job to someone who looks like they can already do it, you know? And so I would have the whiteboard. I would have flashcards for sure. I would probably have an animal like George, just to, if the kid gets distracted, because they may do that to you. They are acting like a 5-year-old, and they do a very good job at it. Don't forget, correct them if they pronounce something wrong. In a positive way. High five them all the time. High five, bam, you know. Just be fun, be silly, be entertaining, be happy, smile a lot, and just enjoy it. So the first, I think you teach the lesson for like 15 minutes or so, and then they'll stop you kind of in the middle, and they will give you feedback. Listen to their feedback. Take it and apply it to the next part of the lesson, because you'll teach the second half of it and you'll be expected to use what they like give you or tell you to use during that next half. Make sure you do that because it will show that you listen and that you can learn quickly. You'll have time to speak to the evaluator whenever you're done. The whole thing is like an hour. So you'll get to ask questions, you'll get to listen to everything they have to say, they'll tell you you did a good job, and then you'll get an email quickly. Mine was like within a couple of hours that'll say you passed, or you might not fit, but if you're just good and happy and fun, then you're gonna pass. So whenever you get what am I trying to think of? I lost my train of thought. If you pass mock 1, there we go. If you pass mock 1, you're gonna get this list of like what you did well, what you could work on, and you're going to be asked to sign up for mock 2. Now, like a very small percentage of people that apply do not have to do their mock 2. Like I think it's like maybe 1 or 2% of people probably that don't have to do mock 2. That's because they just do this stellar job and they're awesome at what they already do. They might have already taught online before and have those TPR skills down and stuff. So I mean, whatever. I would have liked that. But at the same time, I really liked doing mock 2. When you go to mock 2, it really helps you a lot to feel more prepared for actual class, because you get to apply what you learned in mock 1 to a class with an American teacher who acts like a child, and you get to teach not only low level, like the first level of stuff, but you get to teach an older child as well, and so you get practice with both ages, and I think that that's really important. I was actually, when mock 2 was done, I blew it out of the water and I felt confident about it. I felt way more confident during mock 2 than mock 1, and I felt more prepared for my first actual class as a teacher. So but during your mock classes, just be happy, smile, time yourself. Have your phone set to where the screen doesn't time out, and watch your time. You should have practiced this mock class a million times and timed yourself and videoed yourself before you step into the actual mock classroom. You do not want to just go into this. You need to practice. You need to see yourself on the screen. You need to watch your facial expressions, watch your hand motions. Are you using TPR? Are you saying, I see the dog? I see the dog. Good job. You need to see yourself. Make sure that you like what you are doing and what you look like, and like it looks presentable, and like it looks like something they would like, and be prepared to do that whenever they step into the classroom. The slides have these teacher directions underneath them, which I've talked about before. Don't look down at the teacher directions while you are doing the mock class. It'll be very tempting because they are there at the bottom of the screen, but you're gonna look like this. Okay, say K. Good. And then you're just looking at the bottom of the screen and you're not making eye contact, and then that's important. So make eye contact. The way you can do that will still help you, like if you're one of those people that gets very nervous and when you're put on the spot with pressure and all that, like I am, do what I did. I literally put sticky notes all around my computer screen so that if I needed to glance very quickly at one of them, I was doing more like this and not because that's way less obvious. I had so many sticky notes all over my computer, all over my desk, it was everywhere. I prepared so well for that mock class. I worked so hard for it because I wanted this job, and it got me this job. Preparation is key. Practice is key. Practice, and practice some more, and watch your practice, and use what you see to make your next practice better. Practice. So this turned out to be way longer than what I originally intended for it to be, but I hope that it was helpful. I hope that you take what I said if you apply and if you make it to the interview and the mock one and all that. I hope that you will use these tips because they will help. These are things that I saw that other people told me to do, and also things that I just learned from the process. And just the main things are just be happy and be fun, be likable, and be silly, and just enjoy what you're doing. That's what they want to see. It's like any other job. They want to see that you are having fun, that you want to do it, and that you prepared well enough to just already have the job. So with that being said, I have to go teach now. So stay tuned. I will talk to you about Mock 2 sometime this week. I'm not going to be like all those YouTubers that promise a certain date because I do a lot. So sometime this week I will talk to you about Mock 2 and kind of give you some more in-depth advice for that. So I hope this helped. I will see you soon. Goodbye.